Hey guys, it's me, Miss Delaney. I'm here to give you another lesson. So this is our same module, Module 1, Unit 1, but this is Lesson 2 this time. So um, yesterday, or maybe you did it earlier today, you learned about what school is and what it means to be at school and what kind of things we do at school and stuff like that. And we talked about it, and you guys went in your page from yesterday and you answered this in your workbook. Sorry, I'm trying to make this. There we go. You answered this page in your workbook yesterday. So we are going to move on from that lesson. We're going to expand on it, which means we're going to build on that exact lesson that we were talking about, and we're going to have a little bit more of a discussion today. So make sure you have your workbook out, that same workbook that you worked in yesterday, and a pencil. And you might want to have some crayons if you like to color your pictures as well. So let's dive right in. I'm going to share this presentation with you guys so you won't see my face anymore, but you'll see my screen. All right, this is Module 1, Unit 1, Lesson 2. So see, the picture today is the picture of Clifton Hills. All right. So remember when we talked about our learning target poem? Well, I'm going to read that to you guys one more time. So if you remember what it sounds like, you can read it with me. Think of the thing you desire to learn. Believe in yourself and your efforts will earn the ability to learn something new. Now take your aim at your target true. So that's our learning target poem. And here's our learning target for today. It is, I can participate, which means you're listening with care, so you can listen with care, in a collaborative, which means working together, conversation. So to put that all together, that says, I can listen with care in a working together conversation. All right, so here's some vocabulary that you probably need to know for today's lesson. So one word that you're going to need, or one phrase, I guess I should say, is the word key details. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard that word before, used it in school before, but it basically just means small important details or clues. So those are the little clues or the details in a story or a text that is important. Another word that you're going to need to know is the word dozen. Now, the word dozen means a group of 12. So I don't know if you've been to the grocery store with your mom or your dad or grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle. But when you go to the grocery store, sometimes somebody might say, I need a dozen eggs. And what they're meaning is they need 12 eggs. Or sometimes if you go to get donuts or bagels, sometimes people will order a dozen donuts or a dozen bagels. So that just means 12 of that thing. Another word that you'll need to know is the word suburb. Now, suburb means a smaller community that's just outside of a city. If you look at the picture there, you see a lot of houses. So a suburb is an area that is kind of outside of a city, but it's got a lot of houses. It's kind of like a neighborhood. And the last vocabulary word that you need to know is the word rural, okay? I know that one's kind of hard to say, but basically what it means is just in the country. So if you look at that picture down at the bottom, you see a barn, a fence, and wide open green fields and some trees. So rural basically just means in the country. All right, so I have a little song for you guys. I've been practicing this song for a while now because I want to make sure that I can get it right when I sing it to you guys. But this song, if you look at the screen, it's called What is School? And it's to the tune of a song called Sing a Song of Sixpence. Before this, I had never heard this song. So you might not have heard it either. If you want to look it up on YouTube to see how it sounds like, you can. That's what I've been doing, so I know how to sing this song. But here we go. I'm going to sing this song to you. At school we come together to think and work and play, challenging our brains to think in new ways, doing work that matters, believing in ourselves, creating something beautiful to share with someone else. At school we come together to think and work and play, learning things to make a difference each day. Doing things we thought we really couldn't do, appreciating qualities of others too. At school we come together to think and work and play, showing what we've learned in many different ways, learning from each other, treating others well, discovering new interests and stories to tell. All right, so after that song, I want you to kind of think about now, for this lesson, what I kind of want you to do is if you are sitting there watching this lesson with mama or dad or granny or grandpa, auntie or uncle, or even if it's a sibling, or if nobody's there, you can just get a stuffed animal. And what I want you to do is to have a conversation with the person who you are with. So, what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to turn to this person or animal, and I want you to pretend like you're having a conversation like if you were at school, if we were doing a think, pair, share at school. So, I want you to talk about this question. What is one thing you heard in the song? So go ahead and turn to your person or animal and talk about what is one thing you heard in the song. Go. Okay, awesome. Now, if you need a little more time with that question, you can go ahead and stop now before I move on. So, we're moving on now. Let's go to our next slide. All right, so I'm going to read you a little story, and it's all about what school means to you and what school means to all different kinds of people around the world. So we'll read this text aloud, and then you guys, when I tell you to, you're going to answer some questions about it with your person. So we're going to focus on the key details. Like, remember, that was one of our vocabulary words. So we're going to focus on the key details, which is the important details or clues throughout the text. So yeah, they're the small important details in the text that when we put it all together, it helps us to have a better understanding about what the text is trying to say. So if you were in my class right now, I would be having an anchor chart. I would be writing up on a piece of paper on the whiteboard. We would be talking about what is school and why are schools important. So, some things that people might have said is school is important because you learn new and important things. It's also important because you do work that is hard and makes your brain think in new ways, or like Miss Delaney says it, I like to say that your brain grows big and strong. And it's also important because you learn to treat other people well. So this text is going to have ideas about what other people around the country think school is and why it's important. So I'm going to read this text to you. I'm going to get out of this page so I can show you what I'm reading. All right, so here's what this text is going to look like. If you see it right here, you can see this. So it's this little picture right here. So we're going to pretend like it's a real book and I'm reading it to you on the carpet or something. All right, this is the dedication page. It says, "This book is dedicated to students and educators across the country. Special thanks to the students and teachers who pondered the question, 'What is school?' and shared their thoughts to create this book." Schools are places for learning. Some are large with hundreds of students. Some are small with only a few dozen students. Some schools are found in big cities, surrounded by buildings and cars and crowds of people. But there are also schools in the suburbs surrounded by houses and schools in the country surrounded by farms. But what is school really, and why is it important? The dictionary defines school as a place for teaching and learning. But what do kids and teachers say about school, and why is it important? Let's find out. What do you learn at school? Nubian says, the purpose of a school is to learn how to read and write, and to learn to do math. So that was from Nubian, who is in third grade. Jocelyn says, when I was studying the solar system, I wrote about how the moon causes the tides. People came up to me. They didn't know, so I had to teach them. And that is from Jocelyn, who is in second grade, from Rochester, New York. So this first person, I forgot to mention, Nubian, is from Detroit, Michigan. And Jocelyn is from Rochester, New York. Solomon says, my school challenges me to learn by teaching me a topic and pushing me to use it in the real world. We are taking charge of our learning. That's from Solomon in 8th grade, and he is from Chicago, Illinois. I'm sorry. Bryce says, I go to school to be safe and learn all the stuff that I need to learn. I learn how to listen and follow directions the first time so you can be safe. And that was from Bryce, who is in kindergarten and is from Detroit, Michigan. Miles says, I learn to play with my friends. We make plans. We solve problems when we don't agree. And that was from Miles, who is in preschool from Richmond, Virginia. So, our next question is, what makes your school a community? Michelle says, I think the foundation of our school community is caring and fondness for our school. Students and parents are proud to be a part of our school. And that was from a lady named Michelle, who is a teacher in Denver, Colorado. Jonathan says, at school, we work together every single day. We learn together, we play together, and we have fun together. And that was from Jonathan in first grade from Detroit, Michigan. Christopher says, we support each other. Once we go on to the outside world, we'll have habits like this. We will do this and our world will be a better place. For example, if we see someone out there, we can look at them and say hello, not just walk right by. If you keep on spreading the word to be nice, honestly, the word will get around. And that's from Christopher in third grade in Rochester, New York. Lisa says, learning about our community often leads to a service that can be provided to that community. For example, a third grade class learned about world habits. Then they created a scavenger hunt with booklets that gave clues about animals that live in the Seneca Park Zoo in Rochester. They donated these booklets to the zoo for visitors and classes to learn and have fun. And that was from Lisa O'Malley, a curriculum coordinator from Rochester, New York. Jack says, at the beginning of this year, we planted bulbs in front of the school. We did that to make our school more green. By planting these flowers, we are cleaning the air. The flowers take carbon dioxide from the air. This will have an impact on the quality of the air in our environment. And that's from Jack, who's in 6th grade from Rochester, New York. So, another question that we have is, why does your learning at school matter? Trinity says, I think the purpose of a school is to help children educate their minds, get them ready for life, to expand their knowledge of the world. And I think the purpose of a school is also to help people become better people. I want kids to know that although school may seem hard or sometimes overwhelming, it is worth it. It can help you grow into a beautiful young man or woman that will one day create something great. And that's from Trinity, who just graduated high school from Chicago, Illinois. Here's Jack again. Jack says, at school, you learn to do high quality work. High quality work means you are doing above and beyond what you're expected to. I think creating high quality work is important because you'll need that ability in life. And that's again from Jack in 6th grade from Rochester, New York. Chris says, when students create high quality work, it shows them that they are capable of more than they think. It helps students see themselves as experts with a voice and the power to make a difference. And that's from Chris, who is a teacher in Rochester, New York. There's a lot of Rochester, New York people in here. So, what do you think? What does school mean to you? And why do you think school is important? All right, so let's get back to our PowerPoint here. And I know that was a lot to talk about, but we're going to go over it in just a minute. So, where it says here to go back to page 3. And page 3 was all the way up here. Let me see if I can find it. 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Page 3 was about Solomon. And he said, my school challenges me to learn by teaching me a topic and pushing me to use it in the real world. We are taking charge of our learning. So it says, you have heard the word dozen before, right? So we just talked about what that means. Why don't you go ahead and turn to your person and talk about what the word dozen means? Go. Okay. Now, this text or book mentions schools being in a different city or suburb or being in the country. So, what is a suburb and how is it different from a city and the country? So, go ahead and turn to your person again. And we just talked about what a suburb was, what a city was, and what the country was. So, go ahead and talk to your person about what the differences are in those 3 things. Go. Okay, so the word dozen means 12 of something. So whether that's 12 eggs or 12 donuts or 12 bagels or 12 pieces of candy or anything like that. The word dozen just means 12 of something. So we talked about a suburb, and a suburb is basically like a neighborhood or a small community of people outside of a city. And then the country is or in the suburb, in the country, which is another word for rural, it just means it's like open land and there's not a lot of people out there. And things are kind of more spread out. So the difference between a city, a suburb, and the country or a rural area. So think of the city as like very crowded. So the city's got a lot of people going through it, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and you've got lots of buildings and lots of places. So the city is very crowded. And then a suburb, you're a little bit more, you got your arms out here, you got a little more space. You can kind of walk around. There's still a lot of stuff. There's people, definitely, but you got a little more room. But when you go to a rural area or the country, you can kind of spread your arms out like this because you've got a lot of room. There's a lot of people, or there's a lot of space, not a lot of people. Things are kind of spread out. So you go from being in the city to a suburb to the country. All right. So here's the next slide. Why? So here's another question that I'm going to have you guys do a sharing with your person. Why do you think Nubian and Jocelyn, why do they think school is important? So let's remember what they said. Nubian says the purpose of a school is to learn how to read and write and learn how to do math. And Jocelyn says, when I was studying the solar system, I wrote about how the moon causes the tides. People came up to me. They didn't know, so I had to teach them. So why do they think school is important? So go ahead and pair up with your person and talk about it. Go. Okay. All right, if you need more time, you can go ahead and pause because I'm moving on. All right, so I'm going to reread page 14. And what I want you to do is to listen for new ideas about why school is important. Sorry, I'm trying to find the page in here. 11, 12, 14. All right. 14 is the page with Lisa. So let's see if we can find Lisa. All right. Here's page 14. Lisa says, learning about the community often leads to a service that can be provided to that community. For example, a third grade class learned about world habitats. When they created a scavenger hunt, with booklets that gave clues about animals that live in the Seneca Park Zoo in Rochester. They donated these booklets to the zoo for visitors and classes to learn and have fun. So you were listening to see what new ideas about school and why it was important. So I have a couple of questions here. So your first question is, what did Lisa say the third grade class did? Why was it important? Go. All right, we're going to come back together. And our next question is, what is the same about Christopher's idea and Lisa's idea? So remember, Christopher said, we support each other. Once we go on to the outside world, we'll have habits like this. We will do this and our world will be a better place. For example, if we see someone out there, we can look at them and say hello, not just walk right by. If you keep on spreading the word to be nice, honestly, the word will get around. So, what was the same between Christopher's idea and Lisa's idea? I want you to go ahead and partner up with your person again and talk about this question. Go. Okay, we're coming back together. If you need more time, just go ahead and pause. So let's look back at these questions. So it says, what did Lisa say that the third grade class did? So if we go back, it said that Lisa said that the third grade class learned about world habitats. And basically what she's talking about is there's different types of environments in the world. Like if you learn about different animals, animals have different habitats. So a polar bear will live somewhere where it's really cold and has ice and snow. Um, Whereas a lion lives somewhere that's kind of more dry and really sunny. So those are two different types of habitats. Um, so that's what Lisa said the third grade class did. And she said it was important because they created a scavenger hunt. They created these booklets that were scavenger hunts. And these scavenger hunt booklets gave clues about animals that live in the Seneca Park Zoo. So there were different types of animals in that zoo, and these kids created these booklets with different clues about the different animals that lived there. So then at the very end, they donated these booklets to the zoo so that they could keep them forever. So the next question was, what is the same about Christopher's idea and Lisa's idea? Well, Lisa's idea was that the community, which is where these people live and go to school in, they can provide different kinds of services and do good things for their community in order to give back. So that was Lisa's idea, and Christopher's idea was that people support each other. And he's basically saying that when people grow up and they get bigger, they get older, and they have to have jobs, he thinks it's very important for everybody in the community to be supporting each other, which means you guys help each other out. So, the thing that was the same about both of their ideas was that Lisa thinks that it's important that they give help to one another. And Christopher was kind of saying the same thing. They're both talking about helping the community and giving help when other people need it and just being there for each other. So that was what was the same about both of their ideas that they had. All right, so we're going to move on to page 19. Whoops, that's not the one. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So 19 is with our friend Chris, and I'm going to reread it to you guys. Chris says, when students create high quality work, it shows them that they are capable of more than they think. It helps students see themselves as experts with the voice and the power to make a difference. So the question for this is, what did Chris say his class did, and why is it important? So I want you to pair up with your person again and talk about that. Go. All right. And then this next question is, think about Christopher, Lisa, and Chris and what they said about the schools and communities. Why do they think school is important? So go ahead and partner up with your person and talk. Go. All right, we're going to come back together. So Chris, in his in his quote, he said his class He said he thinks students are able to create high quality work. So what that means is that students are able to do work that is really, really, really good. And sometimes it seems like that work might be really hard, but I think a lot of students just may not believe in themselves that they can do stuff that's hard, but they really can. You guys can do stuff that maybe you might not even think you can do. And he says that when you do hard work like that, it shows you that you are capable of more than what you think you can do, that you really can do stuff when you set your mind to it. And he also says that it helps students see themselves as experts with a voice and the power to make a difference. So when you guys sit down to do really hard work, it makes you feel like you are an expert on something, and that you have a voice and the power to make a difference in the world, and that you can put anything you really put your mind to. And that was important because I think it's very important for you guys to know that you can do it. Stuff, especially now with the coronavirus and you have to do stuff from home, um, it'll be hard, but you can do it. And if you just put your mind to it, you really can work and you can make a difference in this world. Um, so think about what Christopher, Lisa, and Chris said in their quote. Um, why is school important? So they all think school is important because it helps people become better. I think it helps you guys become better people and become smarter and become really to become nicer to each other and help each other when you need help and support each other, being there for each other. Um, so that's kind of what the same thing, everybody, what they all had in common. So after reading all of that, it really sounds like school is so important because you learn to make your classroom, school, and a community a better place. So you guys sitting at home watching this from your home, you are making the world a better place. Um, and it's important for you guys to know that. So if you guys were here, I would add this to the anchor chart. So let's go ahead and look at that. So the next thing is, so we talked about why school was important. And under this one, we said school is important because you learn to treat others well. And we're going to add this one right here. So it says school is important because you use what you are learning to make your classroom, school, and community a better place. So not only do you come to school to just learn how to read and write and do math and science and social studies and all of that, but you also come here to learn how to have a relationship with somebody, to learn what it's like to treat other people well and treat them with manners and be kind to them. And you're also here to learn how to make this world, your classroom, your school, and community a better place. So let's move on to the next one. So it wants me to read page 17 and 18. So make sure that you're listening to this about why school is important. Let's go back here. 17 and 18. So we got to go. Oh, so this was 19. Let's go back. So we're going to do Jack and Trinity. Trinity says, I think the purpose of a school is to help children educate their minds, get them ready for life, to expand their knowledge of the world. I think the purpose of a school is also to help people become better people. I want kids to know that although school may seem hard or sometimes overwhelming, that it's worth it. It can help you grow into a beautiful young man or woman that will one day create something great. I really like what Trinity says. I agree with Trinity a lot. I think that school is not just a place to educate your mind, to make your brain grow big and strong, but it's also to make your heart grow big and strong. We want to make sure that you guys know how to be better people and to be your best self and how to be loving and caring towards everybody. So I really like that. And here's what Jack says. Jack says, at school, you learn to do high quality work. There's that word again. High quality work means you are doing above and beyond what you're expected to do. I think creating high quality work is important because you'll need that ability in life. So, what did Jack mention that was also in our chart? So, our chart was learn new important things, do work that is hard and makes your brain think in new ways, or learn to treat others well. So, Jack was talking about this one right here. This thing right here. Do work that is hard and makes your brain grow strong. So let me see if I can do. There's a way that I can do highlight clicks. Pen. Oh yeah. Here we go. So Jack was talking about that high quality work is he thinks it's very important because you're going to need to learn that skill. And he's talking about on the chart that doing work that is hard and makes your brain think in new ways. Eraser. Okay. Erase that. All right. So let's move on. What does Jack think high quality work is? So here it says high quality work is work that someone has put a lot of effort into to make it the best work that it can be. So that's basically what Jack was thinking high quality work. You think it's something that goes above and beyond what you need to do. You're doing a little extra, or you're going the extra mile, some people might say. So let's think about some examples of high quality work, and we're going to add this to the chart. So go ahead and turn and talk to your person and talk about what some examples might be of high quality work. All right, we're going to come back together. So in our anchor chart, right here it says create high quality work and create beautiful and careful work. So one thing I've seen a lot of kids do since I've been a teacher is sometimes kids like to rush through their work because they want to be done with their work because they're kind of they just want to be done with it and move on to the next thing. So sometimes they'll just rush through their work. And then they turn it in, and I look at the work and I think, this isn't good work. It looks like you didn't even read the question, or you were doing the wrong problem, or it just looks to me like sloppy moppy work. And then I have to return that work to that student because I need to know if they know how to do the work, because when they turn it back into me, it seems like they don't know how to do the work. And then they get upset because I have to turn the work back into them. But really, if they had just sit down to do some high quality work and they really did their best and they wanted to do the whole work, they read all the questions, they double checked their answers, and they did high quality work, I would not have to return it back to them. So I think it's important that if you're doing your work, you create high quality work, you create beautiful and careful work. So if you're drawing a picture, it's important that you take your time and make sure the picture is really beautiful and it's the way that you wanted to draw it. Or if you're doing math, make sure you're being very careful and you're double checking your answers and you're going back to make sure that you work the problem right. So it's very important to do high quality work. So this last part, one of this last parts is what I want you to do is you're going to go back into your workbook, the one that I told you to get out. And you're going to go to this page. I believe it's the next page after the first page that we did together. At the top, it says, up here it says page 2. I don't know if you guys will have that in your book, but it looks like this. And the question on the page says, I can ask and answer questions about school using key details from an informational text. And the question is, what did you learn from the book about what school is and why it is important? So I want you to flip open your book to that page, and we're going to think about what we learned today and from the book that I read about what school is and why schools are important. So here's an example that I'll give to you. I don't want you to write this in your book, but it's an example. I remember we talked about school being important because I can use what I learned to help people in my class, my school, or community. So that's just an example of something that you can write. So since you guys have done a lot of turning and talking, or think, pair, share, what I want you to do now is write a sentence in your book on the line. So right here on the lines, I want you to tell me, what did you learn from the book about what school is and why is it important? And then in that box at the top, I want you to draw a picture to match. So that's what your assignment is. So after you've watched this video and you go back to Class Dojo, I want you to fill out that page in your book, and then I want you to take a picture of it. So you'll hold it in front of the camera, make sure that I can see the whole thing. You'll hold it in front of the camera and it'll take a picture, and then that will be what your assignment is. So if you were in my classroom, we would do something like a little scavenger hunt. But since we're not in the classroom together, we won't. And I kind of let you did a scavenger hunt around your house when we were looking for short and long vowel sounds. So that's what I want your assignment to be. I want you to think about, what did you learn from the book about what school is and why it is important, and then draw a picture to match. So that was our Module 1, Unit 1, Lesson 2. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, feel free to message me or text me or call me if you have any questions about this work. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.